Every year on the day before spring, but probably not the day that you're expecting. This is based on the old Japanese calendar, so every year it's usually the 3rd of February. Japanese locals come together to celebrate a tradition called Setsubon. Traditionally, people would throw beans into the open air, and that's meant to chase away and keep away evil spirits. Now you may be wondering why beans? Now apparently it's because the Japanese word for beans is mame. You might have heard the word edamame. And mame is close to the pronunciation of mametsu, which means destroying evil. Now keep that word in mind because I'll have more to say about that word later. So Nike wanted to bring in spring in the US by releasing this shoe in April, even though this festival is celebrated in February. But I'm not complaining, at least we get this shoe, Nike Dunk Low Setsubon. As someone who's really appreciative of Japanese culture and Japanese art, I literally have an entire arm of Japanese art, and this shoe really caught my eye. And as someone that's originally born in Taiwan, every time I go back to visit, you actually see a lot of Japanese influence in the architecture and buildings in Taiwan. So there's just a lot of things about this shoe that really interested me. This shoe released on April 11th for $120. I was able to get a win on sneakers, a very rare win. And man, I'm very satisfied. When I got these in hand, I'm a happy man. Until this morning, of course, when I took another L on the lost and found restocks. I don't think I'll ever get that shoe. And right off the bat, I gotta mention the colorway. As someone that doesn't love Nike Dunks, this colorway, it's impeccable to me. In my opinion, this colorway is so dope. The purple may be a bit too loud than what I'm usually used to or what I usually prefer, but I don't know, the rest of this shoe, something about it, I really like it. The Nike Dunks for me, it's one of those shoes where when they don't get a colorway that I really love, I couldn't care less about it. I don't go for it, I don't care about the plain general release colorways, but when a colorway hits like this, I really fall in love with the shoe. It's a weird silhouette for me. And the upper sole of the shoe comes with a nubuck base layer, and it's got this cracked texture to it. And that's to resemble the roasted soybeans that are used and thrown during the Setsubon festival. Usually I don't love that cracked texture, but when there's a purpose behind it, I'm all about it. And I don't say this usually about Nike Dunks, but the nubuck on the shoe is pretty nice. I believe, or at least it feels like it's probably synthetic nubuck, especially on these gray eye stays. The nubuck on the mudguard, that brown color, it feels better than the ones on the eye stays, as well as the mid panel over here. However, overall, it does feel pretty nice. And the only part about this upper sole that doesn't feel like nubuck is right under the purple ankle collar, this brown part. That feels like normal leather. Everything else feels like nubuck. And something interesting about the purple swoosh on this shoe is that there's almost this glitter texture to it, where you can kind of see a bit of shine to it, and it doesn't feel smooth. There's like a roughness, a purposeful roughness to the swoosh. And you see hints of gold throughout this shoe. You see on the Nike tag on the tongue, as well as the tips of the laces, and also bordering the swoosh, as well as the mini swoosh on the toe box. That's a little pet peeve of mine. I usually don't like mini swooshes. I prefer if they just remove that. I think there's just too much going on when they include that mini swoosh, but the shoe is so nice, I'm willing to overlook that. And on the booty of the shoe, that tag where it says Nike, that's also nubuck, looks awesome. Now there's a lot of little quirks and features about this shoe. Shout out to Doug DeMiro. If you ever watch car reviews, you definitely know Doug DeMiro, and he always goes through the quirks and features of every car. Starting with this little demon icon you see on the heel of this shoe. This is called Asuno Daishi in Japanese. And in local villages in Japan, people will stick this icon on their front door to keep evil spirits away and demons away. Again, part of the whole Setsubon spirit where you're trying to keep evil spirits away. Love that. The storytelling of the shoe is what really drew me to the shoe. And perhaps the most intricate and coolest part about this shoe is hidden in the insoles. And the insole features very special artwork by Utagawa Keniyoshi, a Japanese artist from way back in like 1800s, and it portrays Kentaro, who is a warrior in Japanese folklore. Look how cool that artwork is. As someone with a full Japanese sleeve on their arm, really appreciate Japanese artwork. And the characters on the insoles means mametsu, which means destroying evil. So one character, if you just view it in a vacuum by itself, that means evil, and the other one means get rid of or destroy. Again, the storytelling, that's really what makes this dunk probably, likely, my favorite dunk of the year. Don't know what's coming for the rest of the year, but it's hard to beat how much I like this shoe. And the midsole of the shoe, thankfully not a sale midsole that you almost expect from Nike nowadays. It is this off-white color, what Nike calls white onyx. So it's not completely white, but it's very close, and I love it. And you see this almost fully translucent outsole and that brownish, yellowish tan color. Really love how that complements the rest of the shoe. Unfortunately, the Nike Dunk has no Nike Air unit in it. It is a pretty poorly cushioned shoe, and the padding on the shoe, I gotta say the ankle collar is pretty well padded, and I like how they use the purple on the ankle collar. This shoe does come with an extra set of laces, purple set of laces with golden tips. However, I think the white laces that comes with the shoe, I think that looks better. I think the purple laces would give too much purple on the shoe, it'd be too much. I like the way it looks. In the box of the shoe, a pretty normal red Nike box. If they went with a special custom Japanese inspired artwork box, I would have gone crazy. That would have made this shoe super unique, elite in my opinion, but I'm just asking for too much for $110. Now moving on to sizing and comfort, I'm a size 9.5 true to size. I do have wide feet. I went with a size 10 this time, only because size 10 was the only size I could get. I tried going for 9.5 to see how it would do if I went true to size. Couldn't get it or sold out. Size 10 happened to work out for me. And I gotta say, I think I prefer going up half a size in Nike Dunks. Usually when I go true to size for a Nike Dunk, the toe box area would be too tight. However, the length would fit perfect, but the toe box would be too snug. With a size 10, when I go up half a size, although there's a bit of room lengthwise, I do prefer that. I prefer a looser feel on this toe box area. So going forward, I think I'm gonna go up half a size for all Nike Dunks. The Nike Dunk Low has never been the most comfortable shoe, definitely not for my feet anyway. It's pretty clunky, it's pretty stiff, not quite as stiff as the Air Force Ones, where you literally feel like you're wearing takeaway boxes on your feet. But the Nike Dunk Low, just not the most comfortable shoe. The padding inside is decent, but just the cushioning, it just kind of feels like you're walking on ground with like a bit of separation from the soles. And the total sole score comes out to be 18 out of 25. Definitely the highest scoring dunks that I've ever reviewed, and actually one of the highest scores that I've given overall. And that's pretty surprising. I'm not a big fan of the Nike Dunks. You have to really give me a great colorway for me to go after a dunk. So this is surprisingly high. Now the colorway, I know people are split about this. I personally really love this colorway. If I just took these colors and listed it out separately, I might have said that there's too much going on, but when you put it together and present it in this way, I don't know what it is about it, I just really like it. In terms of materials for a Nike Dunk, again, surprisingly, it's pretty good. The nubuck feels nice, it feels smooth. I'm pretty sure it's synthetic nubuck. It doesn't feel as nice as the nubuck on like an Air Jordan 5 UNC, but at least feels smooth, it feels soft. Especially the nubuck on the mudguard, I really like touching it. And comfort, like I said before, you're not going to get too much out of a Nike Dunk Low. In terms of versatility of the shoe, I think the Nike Dunk Silhouette, one of the more versatile silhouettes you can buy. The colorway, however, this is where it gets kind of tough. I can see if people think this colorway is probably too much, too out there. If you remove the purple on this shoe, however, and just made this a very earthy shoe, I think it'd be more versatile in terms of colors. But because of the purple, and maybe because of the gold accents that you see throughout the shoe, it's not the most versatile shoe. And finally, I think the real strength of the shoe is the storytelling. When you know the story behind the shoe, and thankfully Nike.com actually gives you a pretty good description about what inspired this shoe. When you know exactly the story and what the Setsuban Festival is, the storytelling really just stands out. Starting with the little icon on the heel, as well as the super special insoles of the shoe, and the cracked leather to resemble the roasted soybeans. Everything about it, I think, pays really good homage to the Japanese tradition of Setsuban. There's a few things in this world that bridges culture, music, arts, sports, I think sneakers as well. This shoe, very heavily focused and inspired by Japanese tradition. It led me to research more into what Setsuban is, it led me to research what the little demon icon is on the heel of the shoe. All of these things I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for my love of sneakers. And I think that was the intent of the designer, to portray a very special culture and tradition to the masses through our shared love of this silly little hobby. And I think they did a really great job. So that's it, thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think of the Nike Dunk Low Setsuban. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.